Okay, so we thought it would be important to create a short little video describing our company, where it came from, what our goals are, so you know a little bit more about us. As you know, the company's name is tendollarceu.com, and you can see our wonderful little mascot right here on the front page. In the beginning, there was respiratory, and it was good. All right, just kidding, folks. Hey, I spent over 20 years in this profession. 11 of those years was in a burn unit. And when I was in that unit, I spent quite a deal of time providing all the education to respiratory therapists, nurses, and residents. And this is primarily mechanical ventilation education. Now, the reason why I want to focus in on this, because sometimes people think, well, why are we providing mechanical ventilation education to the nursing profession? It's absolutely essential that nurses and respiratory therapists understand each other's roles to a certain degree so they can work better together in tandem. No matter what the medical professional is, when they go see a patient and they're trying to assess where their patient is at, they need to know and answer a very big question. Is this patient better, worse, or the same than they were the last time I was in here? Now, as a nurse, if you don't understand some of the basics of mechanical ventilation, such as the basic modes of ventilation, it would be virtually impossible to answer that question. Now, you probably don't know enough to make decisions, clinical decisions about vent setting changes, but you need to at least know some of the basics so you can answer these questions. It's very essential. Okay? I had a gift, so to speak, I would guess. Everybody says it's a gift. You'll have to judge that as you look through my materials, to be able to teach the stuff in a manner that was easy for people to understand. And so for many years, I had a lot of residents come to me and ask me, could you please put what you teach in writing? And I never thought I could do it, never wanted to do it, but finally, after maybe 2 years of coaxing and prodding, I was talked into it. Well, that led to the writing of 2 books, the very first one being Mechanical Ventilation Made Easy. Now, as its name would suggest, it's an easy to understand approach to understanding mechanical ventilation. Go over the basic concepts, talk about the most common modes of ventilation, talk about arterial blood gas interpretation, pretty much everything you need to know to be in the ballpark of understanding how this concept works. All right, so I wrote it, I started to market it, I wasn't sure where it was going to go. The first time I realized it was going to be somewhat cool and successful is I would notice that most of the residents that worked in the facility I was at, they had it in their lab coat pocket. So the residents were really digging it. Next thing I found out is the nursing profession took off with it. Many nursing schools actually used it as a curriculum, and the American Association of Critical Care Nursing put it in their online bookstore, so it can be purchased right online through the American Association of Critical Care Nursing. So I started to understand the importance of what this was providing. Now, what I'm about to say next may sound kind of crazy, because I'm going to say I really would not recommend anybody buying that book, because the second book I wrote, Respiratory Nuts and Bolts, has everything in it that mechanical ventilation has. It's basically an adjunct or a upgrade from the mechanical ventilation book. So everything in Mechanical Ventilation Made Easy is in Respiratory Nuts and Bolts. I added some chapters, basically since I saw how popular this was with the nursing profession. I looked back over the years at all the classes I was asked to teach nurses. Things like how to do inhalers properly, how to do nebulizers, oxygen therapy, how to provide proper oxygen setups. All right, stuff that nurses didn't really get taught in nursing school, but they really need to know for their own job. And I added that into this book so that way they'd have a more comprehensive book about stuff they needed to know respiratory related. Okay, so again, don't buy Mechanical Ventilation Made Easy, buy Respiratory Nuts and Bolts, because you're going to get more information. Okay, nothing new. But you know what? My goal wasn't just to make money off of CEUs. Um, CEUs is the only thing I'm charging people for other than the books, and that's not even through me. You got to go through Amazon. But on the website, the only thing you're ever going to pay for is those CEUs. My goal was to provide as much free content as possible. And the reason is because there's no proprietorship on all this content. If you want to read about say APRV, airway pressure release ventilation, you can spend all day looking at articles on that. It's not hard to find the information. So I'm trying to help you out and provide as much information as I can for free in an easy to understand approach, but also maybe in a forum where we can interact with each other. So I wanted to create various social media platforms so professionals can connect through them and interact with each other and discuss issues, discuss modes, discuss therapies, discuss protocols, not just in the respiratory world, but also in the nursing world. And that's going to be a little harder for us to take off with because I'm not a nurse. I don't know what you guys want. So all the assistance I can get from you to create topics for you would be awesome. So we wanted to do all this and get you the education, the continuing education you need to maintain your licensure.